All right, I'm going to go over the new Kaba lever pin drill guide tool that I've designed. The main reason I've done that is to give you ultimate control when you're drilling the lever pin, where you're generally drilling either a 1/4 inch or a 5/16 hole through the safe, and then continuing with that same size to wipe out the lever pin. And I know things happen, and if you aren't careful, if you drill too deep into the lever, there's a chance of shearing it off. And I know some of you have done that, and when you shear off the lever, you got a major nightmare to deal with it. So my goal is to be able to target the lever pin directly itself without using an oversized drill that we use to get through the safe. So we're going to go over the details of it. It's a relatively simple premise. It's just giving you a method to precisely drill the lever pin without drilling an oversized hole that's not necessary. Now you do have to drill, and this tool is basically designed for the Kaba series. Anything that uses the lever pin, the 252, 552 Sencons, the X10s, anything that's got a lever pin in it, this tool will work on. Now the premise of the tool is after you drill your hole, I've designed it in such a way that it will work either with a 1/4 inch hole or a 5/16 hole. So we'll go over what the details of it. So in the kit, I give you both a 1/4 inch centered tube and an offset tube, and a 5/16 diameter centered tube and offset tube. The theory being, after we drill in the calculated spot to land on top of the lever pin, many times because of inaccuracy of the lock, or you're drilling or you get deflected in the hard material to get to the lock, you don't end up dead center on the pin. I mean, in a perfect scenario, here's a hole that's essentially drilled dead center on that lever pin there. That in most cases is not the case. Most of the time you're going to end up with a scenario where your hole is a little off, may not be to this extent, but you can see the lever pin is in this case high on the hole. The goal was to make a tool that would allow you to drill that lever pin no matter where it is within the hole without the fear of drilling the whole lever off. So we'll go over how it works. So after you penetrate the safe and just the lock skin, you're just drilling through the lock skin. The die cast case is probably a little under an 1/8 inch thick. You just, in a perfect scenario, use an end mill to get through the case, so you end up with this arrangement here. After you've drilled into the safe, take a look inside and see if the lever pin is relatively centered. If it's perfect like this, all we're basically going to do is we're going to use the centered tube. We're going to slide it through the safe hole, and the hole in the safe that you've drilled. We're going to put the tube on. This is basically a slide adjustable handle. You're going to put this in the safe up till it stops. You're going to come to the front of the safe, clamp this on at that safe door surface, clamp that down, and now this is all one piece. At this point, you can take a hand drill. Now this is a carbide tipped precise drill bit. It's a very high quality carbide tip. This is not a regular high speed drill because of course the lever is hardened. So we're going to use this special drill, and basically what's going to happen is you can install the bit in your drill with a controlled distance of how far it's going to come out. So it allows you to never over drill depth wise based on your preparation of the jig here. So essentially, once we determine the position of the pin in the hole, if it happens to be centered, you're going to use the stainless steel tube that would land you dead center on it. Now this is not just some random internal size. This precisely holds the bit in place. One other note, when you are drilling the lever pin, you should turn the drive cam so that the lever pin is raised up and not in the drop-in. The reason for that is that the lever pin is going to bounce around more if you have it in the drop-in. So turn the drive cam so that it lifts the lever pin away from the drive cam. It tends to be more stable. It will have some wiggle to it anyways, but it's not going to move around on you as much. It will make it a little bit more fixed in place wherever that should be. So you're going to drill the lever pin into a controlled depth. Once you wipe out the lever pin, the lever will now drop. Sometimes you need to probe it down a little bit, that's fine. But you're never going to get into a situation where you're drilling off the whole fence lever by trying to use an oversized drill. That's not necessary. So one thing I've done, in the scenario where you have a hole that is not perfectly placed, which many times that is the case. So for instance here, on this example, we have it sort of high in the hole. So what we'd do is we'd take our proper diameter drill guide and we simply would put this in, and we're going to estimate. So basically, if that's on the door there, I'm going to look in and say, okay, where is this relative on the circle here? When it's clamped into the jig, what I recommend you do, you're just going to clamp it in place here so that you've got a holder on the outside that will go up to the surface of the door. It's going to be in the hole. In this case, it's sort of towards the top. So I'm going to insert this at that position. Now on the outside of the door, while I have it holding against the outside of the door, I'm just going to make a line on the door. This will tell me that I'm holding the clamp at this position. I'm going to drill in and see if I'm hitting my lever pin, because it's an estimation of where it is in the periphery of the hole. I'm going to drill in a little bit. If I find I'm off a little, all I do is I refer to my mark on the safe door, and then maybe I'm going to rotate it slightly that way or the other way. It allows you to control where the drilling is taking place around the perimeter of the hole. And that's how you got to use this. Make a mark on the door and just move it a little bit. And you can, no matter where the lever pin is within the hole, you can drill it off. Now be aware that the centered tubes are actually stainless steel. And again, they're precisely drilled for the 5/32 bit to go through it. The offset tubes are actually aluminum that have been hard coat anodized, and I've gone to the extra expense of having it what you call Sanford processed, which is a process that impregnates Teflon into the surface. So not only are these hardened, they've been impregnated with Teflon, so it will reduce the drilling wear in the tube over time, the resistance of it. This way, it allows us to get the precise location where we want. But these, even though they're aluminum, they're not just plain aluminum. They've been treated and hard coat anodized, which basically hardens the outside a couple thousandths into it, and that they're Teflon impregnated, which will help in the spinning of the drill for a long time use. Essentially, all we're doing is we're allowing us to control the depth of the drilling in a precise spot. You no longer, if you can't, it's not realistic to try to drill without it guiding this in place. It's got to bounce all around. So the whole purpose here is to allow you to control a precise hole into the lock and drill the lever pin itself without drilling everything off in its way, and the chance of now you drilling off the whole fence lever is not a problem, because you can control how much the drill bit sticks out of your tube to the exact distance here. You just have the drill chuck hit against the tube and acts as a stop. So this tool is designed to hopefully give you some insurance against not over drilling the Kaba lock. I think you'll find it will be very helpful. Again, you can use this tool for other things other than the Kaba. For instance, if you maybe were trying to drill off a Mosler 302 fence, and you're trying to basically just drill off where that fence is connected to the lever, you can use one of these tubes for that same thing. It will work up to a 4.5-inch door thickness to the target inside the lock to the outside door surface. The drill bit is 6 inches long. The guide tubes are 5 inches long. So 4.5-inch door thickness is the maximum amount it will work. I hope you find this useful. Thank you.